lovely participant of Architect US. Hi, everyone. I think that it's gonna work really great this time because Arturo's already here. I just have to invite him. So give me 1 second. It's funny because he actually showed us how to do this in a different interview. So while everyone, hi Arturo.
Hello.
Hello, this is amazing. I think this is the first time we make it at 6 sharp. Well, 12 p.m. in East Coast.
9 a.m. here.
9 a.m. That's true. That's true. You're right. Can you hear me properly? Is there anyone in I don't know why I'm kind of orange. The light is weird today here. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Okay, so you can hear me. People is starting to join us, so we're gonna give just a few seconds to see everyone. As I normally do, it will be lovely if you guys can say where you're joining from, so you know we get to know a little bit about you before starting to talk, because we have a very international guest here today. So so yeah, maybe he work or study at one of your countries too. So I'm trying to see everyone that is joining. I don't know if okay. Yeah, so people starting to say hello. Hola from New York. Okay, so I guess it's Spanish or Spaniard people joining from New York. There's someone from, I know, from New Jersey. Well, it starts just saying hi from wherever you're connecting from. But today, as part of our interview series, we're going to try to cover I don't know how an architect can explore global architecture by living the culture of different scenarios and how that actually impacts the way you approach the design and architecture. And we have the pleasure to have here Arturo, that even though he's a very young architect, I mean, your career is just starting. Yeah. He's got like a broad international experience. So please join me welcoming Arturo today. Thank you so much for finding some time at this time of the day.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. 9 a.m. That means that you haven't started to work yet, or you're taking a break?
Well, I already started. I'm taking a break. I usually start at 7.
You start at 7? Wow. Mm-hmm. But why is that? Just because you are an early bird, or because of
I'm
structure?
I'm really early bird, and we have like flexible hours, so I prefer to start at 7 so I can end up at 4.
That's amazing. They allow you to do that. That's great. Yeah. I mean, in some companies they do that, but if you work on a team basis, sometimes it's not possible. But
yeah, actually my team leader also starts at 7, so that's quite an easy thing to do.
That's kind of weird, providing you're Spanish. I mean, I think that you're the first architect I come across that starts really early. We normally are night owls, you know, that you spend the night out doing your models and
I was never a night person. I think I haven't done many nights at school either, so.
Really? That's so interesting. Mm-hmm. Absolutely the opposite of me. Yes. I was always the opposite. I remember saying, okay, one day per week, I'm going to stay sleepless. But, you know, by doing that, I can ensure myself I can go out during the weekend and things like that. But at least 1 week, entire night, I was awake, just working. But no, not your type of.
Well, I see some of my classmates here, and I was the kind of person that ended the projects a day before the submittal. So, so the last night I usually went out with some friends.
That's amazing. Well, just so you know, guys, we normally ask a few questions to all of our interviewees before. You know, we go live, just to, even though we know them quite well, because they have been part of the program, you know, we try to understand a little bit more of their background and interest, and you know how they experience architecture in a general point of view. And I was surprised when I read that you are super organized, that you always kind of finish things on time, and yeah, I mean that that can be possible, but normally we're always rushing, right, to go to the deadline.
Yeah, I always managed to organize myself pretty well. Actually, I did my master's thesis. I don't know how they call it in English. But,
yeah, thesis.
Yeah. I actually did it pretty fast, also, like in 6 months. So.
Okay, guys,
February.
We're talking to a genius here, okay, guys? So
no.
take notes. No, but I mean, let's focus on your journey. I think that is a very, very interesting. I don't know if just so you know, guys, Arturo is still part of the Architect US program. We helped him to land a job in Sacramento over a year ago. We got him a job at HMC, corporate and really prestigious established firm. Not only in Sacramento, they have offices, I don't know if across the entire US, but mainly California.
Mainly California. I think there's also one in Phoenix, but it's just starting to open up to other states.
Got it. Yeah, but I mean, they're really big in California. And so what I was going to say is that I don't know if your kind of experience in the US was meant to be based on your background and trajectory, or if it was something that you had dreamed of always.
No, I was just looking for an experience in Northern America. I wasn't really aware of where I wanted to go, as I already had experiences in the other continents. I just wanted to try this one and see how it looked and how was the architectural approach here. But yeah, also I think salary was a huge deal when it comes to, like, I was working in Madrid, so salaries were really low, and
yeah, very, very deceitful. So just to put it in context, and you kind of understand a little bit more, Arturo started traveling at the age of 8, I believe you mentioned. I mean, since you were a kid. So somehow that is embedded in your genes, like you are absolutely able to just travel the world and, you know, accommodate and kind of get settled in a fast piece. And but tell us, because you studied in Madrid architecture, but you also did a workshop in Thailand, and you studied in, well, tell us.
It's a little complex. I started architecture in Spain, in Madrid, and San Pablo, and then I think it was 4th year. Me and my friend Teresa, we decided to do this Erasmus kind of, but it was like a scholarship to go to Taiwan, to Tonghai University. That was actually a pretty cool experience. We got to experience a completely different approach to architecture. Also a completely different environment and different culture, which was really, really cool to see. And from there, being at that school, we got another scholarship to move to Selapapan University in Bangkok during that year.
Wow.
so it was just like a little ping pong game. Scholarships all over. But it was a great
lucky you. I mean, getting all those opportunity while you are studying is incredible. I mean, that was part of your university program, or it was something? Okay.
Yeah, it was actually an exchange thing they did. They call it like Platform of Asian Architecture and Urban Design. So what they do is that, a bunch of schools in Asia from different countries like India, mainland China, Philippines, Taiwan. We joined and for sometimes, I think it was like for a month that we stayed there in Bangkok.
That's incredible. And how did that impact the way you approach design, for instance? I mean, was it a very hands-on experience, or were it just more theoretical kind of courses?
It was pretty hands-on. We did like some workshops about the traditional Thailand architecture. We went to Ayutthaya. I don't know if you know that. It's like a huge city of temples outside of Bangkok, and we worked there with kind of trying to see what was existing, what it was before, what it should become once they restore it. And
so there was an important research process.
Yeah.
And then it ended up in a specific project that you had to develop, or it was just
probably it was a study for them more than to us. We just got part of it, and yeah, we studied pretty cool things, like even the sounds of the nature in that area and how that impacted the architecture. So yeah, it was a really cool experience. Totally recommendable.
I know, yeah. I mean, going overseas and nurture from other cultures, approaches, methodologies, tools. I mean, everything is like a plus that you put in your backpack, right? So,
yeah,
but I mean, are you aware that actually that left some sort of footprint in the architect you have become, or it was just something that, you know, it was interesting, but
no, for sure. It always leaves something on you, right? Especially when the experience is so extreme. Like it's a completely different culture, so you have like to modulate yourself. Even your designs, most of the times, are not understood there. Because
why is that? What do you mean by that?
Architecture in at least in my school in Tanhai, in Taiwan, they had a much more it's a completely different scale of design approach. They start with the small details and run into the big things. So
they go backwards.
Uh-huh.
That's super fun.
They started designing with like small scale elements and maybe more like a human scale architecture.
I was going to say that it was not about the object or the detail, but the actual space around a human, right? That's super interesting.
Yeah, and they take a lot of, they're really interested in their heritage and how cities are becoming, especially in Southeast Asia, they're becoming a little bit copies of Chicago all over. And especially this school wanted to get into the roots of why architecture in Taiwan was made in a different way before, and what's happening with the urban space right now when they change into this American exporting experience of architecture, that they just like build everything as American cities. Well, and sometimes it doesn't work for their climate.
They're trying just to kind of export or import. Okay, that's interesting. And I don't know, was that helpful somehow for your actual American experience, just because of the shift of those kind of objects?
Well, yeah, the American experience is completely different. Like the approach I got from HMC is a much more corporate approach, and it doesn't have anything to do with that.
Yeah, we're comparing. Yeah, it's like comparing. It's not even the country difference, right? It's the structure.
It's a complete different structure of firm. Even with the Spanish firms I worked on, it has nothing to do.
Yeah. So can you please just share with us what was your role, in this corporate scenario, and how do you felt, working for such a big structure?
So I was a designer. HMC actually focused on education and healthcare, but I was only the education part of the company.
Uh-huh.
So we were in my office, which is the office here in Sacramento. We were about three or four designers. And then a main principal designer.
But that's good because only being with 4 people, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's a pretty small team for.
You got the opportunity to actually, be part of decisions and important.
Yeah, for sure. Like we actually divided like the buildings into different, because they have like pre-K schools and then high schools and then higher education. So we were a little bit divided, the 4 of us, into a different type of educational building.
Okay, so you were running your own kind of section of it. That's pretty, I don't know, surprising that you got, that exposure, that level of exposure. So,
sorry.
No, please.
No, I was just going to say that HMC is a really specific, it's a really, especially the Sacramento office, it's pretty different probably from the rest of them. And the office here in Sacramento it's not as big as the other ones. So probably in the main office where you have like 200 people working there, it's not the same as we did because we were like 30 something.
I was gonna say, how big is the Sacramento office?
Yeah, we were like about 30 or 40 people.
So even though you were in a corporate structural atmosphere, there was more like a mid-size firm, where you still have some sort of familiar kind of teams,
but you still have to deal with the structural
on the corporate.
Because everything like goes really slow when firms are really big. So
they have their own protocols and bureaucratics and we will go into some of that probably you experienced while trying to transition. But I was going to say first, before going into that, your current job, I was going to ask you, just to give our audience a little bit more of insights of how the office actually works. I mean, you were working with your other team members in the design kind of section, but was it like a horizontal organization, or you had to deal with other teams above and
Okay, so it was mainly divided into the managing work and the designers work. So there were like 2 separate, like really separate teams. There were people that never design and only deal with CA and numbers and CDs. And then there were us, which we only did with like the design of SD, DDs, and things
also
like that.
It's very, very sectorized. I mean, you didn't really get to work in any construction documents.
Well, not in construction details, because they have like it's such a large frame that they already have everything standardized at some point. So you just grab details from other projects, or they have like a huge library where you can just pull them out and modify them a little bit. But
and how does that work with a design lover, or design romantic, right? Because I totally know your answer before you answer. But I mean, just because I also work for a corporate, right? I work for HOK, and my background before, my experience before was with very design, oriented architects like Herzog and de Meuron and Peter Cook, and like great architects, and especially in design. And so I remember all my friends saying like, what are you doing? Why are you going to corporate? Like if it was going to hell. But my experience was actually the opposite. I mean, it's true that I didn't really cope or, deal with the way design was managed, because business was always there. Business was an important parameter to take into account. But at the same time, you get to learn from so many other angles that impact that project, that it was a great experience. But my struggles were mainly in design. So I want to going back to the question.
HMC in that sense, it's pretty design oriented.
Okay.
So that was pretty good. We had a lot of freedom in design, and as we were only designers and we were not going through the whole process of the building, even though you're always in one of the buildings, you're through the whole process, so you understand all the phases, right? Because, for example, while designing Sierra College, I was working in CDs, but I was also in SDs in other projects, right? So.
Okay, that's also interesting. You were working in multiple projects at the same time, mm-hmm. and also at different levels of development.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So one of the great things about HMC, it's that especially if you're a designer and you're a design-oriented architect, is that you could actually start like a lot of concepts really fast, because they have a lot of buildings going on, right?
Uh-huh.
So let's say a building comes to you, and you have a month to create the concept design, and then you pass it on to someone else. But they always get back to you with your questions on, does this still the concept you were looking for, or are we changing it too much? So that was also really good. I really honestly like that.
No, yeah, I mean, it seems like you've been there for like a year.
A year and 5 months. Mm-hmm.
But you tell us, out of the year, I mean, the 60 months or whatever, how long have you been under COVID? Like pretty much 80%, right?
Okay. Yeah. The first months were I was not doing much, as I didn't know anything about Revit. They just focus on teaching me a lot of stuff.
I was going to say, what was the software they use? Revit. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Revit, Rhino, and Dynamo, and all this, and Scape. Yeah, all that stuff. So I spent like probably first 2 months just learning tools with a bunch of people they brought to teach me.
That is amazing. So you guys put that in context. I mean, I haven't experienced that type of training, and I don't know you guys, but it only happened to me also when I landed in a corporate office in New York, mm-hmm. that they have the resources, not only the tools, but also the people dedicated to train you while they're paying you. So, yes. Right? And they're paying, nice. And they're paying you actually way better than they pay you normally in your home country. So this is a good way of putting in context what the opportunity of practicing in the US means.
Yeah, of course. Like when you arrive here, you probably don't know a lot of the standards. All the code, it's crazy, especially for education buildings.
Uh-huh.
And well, I'm assuming healthcare too, right? But so in that firm, code was a really important thing. And all the computer programs I didn't even heard about, like Enscape or Ladybug.
Ladybug. Oh my God, I'm absolutely out. What is Ladybug? I mean, I know
it's like a plugin on
Ladybug, but
it's like a plugin on Rhino. Rhino has all these plugins that are all animals, like grasshopper, giraffe, ladybug, whatever. So they just spent some time on teaching you all that stuff, and you also had something that was really nice. That is, you have some hours for every project to expand on your training on the things you want to learn.
Wow.
So each of the projects has some specific hours you can use for your own training in your work time. So you don't have to do it like outside of work.
Out of hours. That's amazing. And that was for 2 months. So pretty much and then almost the pandemic hit, right?
Yeah.
But going back to the very beginning, just because you had all those stamps in your passport,
Mm-hmm.
you know, not only from when you were already an architect, but before, you know, when you were a kid traveling and living. I think that I read that you studied in Ireland and then in England and then Paris too.
Paris, and
How many,
France.
how many languages do you speak?
Well, completely, like perfectly three, not perfectly five, I would say.
Wow, that's incredible. That's amazing. But I mean, what I was going to say is that based on all that, you know, yeah, experience that you have accumulated throughout the years, when you landed in Sacramento, was it difficult? Was like a smooth transition? How did you feel when you started the opportunity there?
Yeah, so what happened was with the US, at least what happened to me, is that I thought I knew more of them than I really did.
That's very true. That's so true.
Yeah, because you actually, yeah, you're bombarded with this American culture all the time in TV shows and everywhere. And then you arrive here and I felt like in a sitcom all the time. The first, until I got used to them. But yeah, actually, my background helped me a lot. Especially here in Sacramento, there's a lot of different nationalities and a lot of different backgrounds, and a lot of American people are never from America because they keep telling themselves they're Greek or they're Spanish or they're French, even though they've never been there, but they still have their roots and their culture. But that was pretty interesting to see, and as I accumulated all that experience out of borders of Spain, that was really helpful to get in touch with all these people that I already had things in common with.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I mean,
actually, it was like, for example, when I arrived to HMC, one of the first schools I designed was an elementary school for a Chinese company that wanted to create like boarding Chinese schools here in California.
Wow.
So they put me immediately in that project because I was coming from Taiwan, because I had my experience in Taiwan, and nobody knew anything about their culture. So their school was going to be really different from the other ones, right?
Of course. And, and your knowledge of the community and how they operate, I guess that's what I was asking before, like how experiencing, oh, sorry, I'm missing one of my headphones. How much a personal experience can impact, you know, your way of designing. I've been always fascinated by that. I mean, I remember just like a very short memory that I have. I remember when I worked for Peter Cook, I got to work for him in London just because I had interned while I was studying architecture for a construction professor in the Polytechnic in Madrid called Salvador Pérez Arroyo. Mm-hmm. They were very, very close friends, and he had a studio in El Escorial outside of Madrid. El Escorial is a very strong, well, it has a strong history, and the palace there is very, very, I don't know, it can leave a footprint on you when you look at it, right?
Yeah,
it's such a powerful architecture landmark. Yeah. So I remember, I don't know why I remember this, but it had an impact on me when Salvador told me that the first time he invited Peter Cook over to his studio in El Escorial, basically the studio was looking at the monastery. So you could see it, and Peter Cook didn't want to look at it. He turned around and he didn't want to look at it because he said that he was got influenced by such a powerful piece of masterpiece of architecture. And I was like, that's so weird. The first thing I do, or the first thing I normally did at school or when I was working in the studio to start a project was to do some research. you know, try to get as much influence as I can from visuals, graphics, design, details. I mean, anything. Materials, yeah. Like almost like if you were doing a puzzle, right? You already have in your mind the concept of what you want to accomplish. But at the same time, you know, you're in the need of getting all that nurture. And I was so impressed, like, that means I'm not going to be a genius, you know, I'm not going to be a rock architect, because I'm always looking for references. But I mean, it's exactly what you were saying.
I guess the experience in Taiwan, which was a really powerful experience, not only in a professional way, but also in a personal way. The approach to design there was so different. This heritage and kind of fantastic culture that they have with all these legends and things going on that are always impacted in those projects. And yeah, and that's a completely different approach. We never think of what was the heritage of this specific area of the city, like who lived there. You know, they keep abandoning houses downtown of Taichung, which was the city I was living in, because when someone dies in a house, their spirit lives there. So
wow.
They keep like abandoning those houses, so the downtown is like moving away from the
those
old
spirits.
Town. Yes.
Wow.
So yeah, it's kind of it's very different. Yeah. So
it's interesting, at the least, the way they picture you know, that transition into the new construction, new architecture. But I mean, I find it super interesting, seriously, just to look for references, heritage, as you were saying. One of the things that I was missing the most when I was working at HMC was that kind of time that you dedicate to come up with a good design, you know, a good concept, and then the design comes after, right? It was more a matter of just production than recreation, as architects normally do, in the sense of developing a concept. But I don't know, what was your experience in that regard with HMC?
So in that terms, we what we usually did was a lot of users meetings, but a lot of them, especially when you're designing schools, you have like the parents board, and then you have the teachers board, and then the school district. So you have to deal with those three needs that probably are completely opposite most of the times. Because the school district is looking for something really different, like what parents are looking for. And you have to listen to all of them, choose what you can.
Put them in the put it in the mixer, shake it, and yeah, that's interesting. And so right now, after being working from home for a year, has that also changed? I don't know. Has that also changed the way you experience work on a daily basis beyond working by yourself? And
yeah, I really miss like the working group part of it.
I mean,
especially I mean, like in HMC, we had a part of the office that was like the sketching part, right? So we just went there to draw whatever we wanted, and people walk through it to get coffee. So they give you feedback. Oh, don't do that. Like try it this way. And that was really nice. And right now from home, everything gets a little bit more tricky. But
yeah, I've always seen architecture somehow like an accumulation of layers of information. And I think that, you know, you can totally tell when you see a design or a project that has many layers that from another that probably is being like in a fast track and production kind of mode. And so I think that it's too early, you know, to see that impact on the projects that have been
because at least
COVID.
Our projects were already started, so I guess we just went to CDs and and maybe DDs, a little bit of it with the COVID. So,
but I think that's an interesting question. Do you really think that we will see the same way that you can study the architecture of the Second World War, of the years of the Second World War, or the architecture that was built in the Industrial Revolution, or things like that? It's important historic moments. Do you think that I don't know, there will be some sort of trace in architecture?
For sure, especially in our market, schools have changed a lot, and they're changing their way of thinking. All this, most of the designs we were producing got stopped and changed because of the new needs, right? Like we need bigger classrooms, more open, different HVAC machines, air purifiers, and then a bunch of screens and cameras in the classroom we never thought about.
Wow.
So for sure it has impacted design of schools.
Yeah, I mean, from the operational point of view, 100% sure in that type of typologies that require.
But also the designs, right? Like
yeah.
They get together in smaller groups, so you need the space for them, and also the way of moving through the school cannot be in this narrow hallways anymore. And most of the schools we're doing right now, they have like an outdoor hallways most of the time.
Okay, and that hasn't been conceived before. That's interesting. Well, we'll see what happens.
Especially here in California, we have a super good climate for that. So
yeah, you were saying before that you're already tan because of the oh my God, you're so lucky. You're so lucky.
Yes, we are. I was gonna translate into Fahrenheit, but it's probably like 90 something this weekend. And
wow.
So that's
it's almost summertime over there. And how are you guys doing in terms of vaccination? And are you working remotely still? Or are you going to the office? How is the situation?
We're not going to the office. I think there's a plan to go to the office from June. Okay. I think everybody is gonna be vaccinated for the 4th of July. That's what they hope for.
But like, wow.
Like at least 70% of the country. Yeah. So
what they're saying is the benchmark. Okay.
That's a couple months away. You barely knew someone that was vaccinated, and right now everybody has the first dose. Like all of the friends I have the first dose. I have the first dose, and we're just waiting for the second. So probably in
so you got it even though you're not American citizen. Just because by the fact that you're there, living there.
You don't need. They didn't ask for any proofs. Just go to the supermarket, give your passport. They just write it down and put you the vaccine. That's it.
Really? Wow, that's incredible. I don't know you guys from where you're connecting how vaccination is doing, but here in Spain we're doing really bad. We're really behind. They're still vaccinating people over 70 years old. So imagine I might get vaccinated by 2030.
I think there a couple of weeks ago it started for over 16 years old. So.
Oh wow! But I mean, all this health crisis unfortunately led HMC to let you go just because they ran out of projects. We always got such a great feedback on your performance, and they really tried to keep you for the longest. But I mean, it happened. But
it happens. It was kind of like I was not hoping for it, but I was like waiting for it because they got like the first layout was in July, then there was a second one in September, and I was hearing the third one was coming. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go in this one.
But I mean, it's incredible how fast you reacted, and you got a job in I don't know, like a week or two.
Yeah, that was pretty.
That was amazing because I was really, well, just so you know, guys, it happened with some Architect US participants, but with Arturo, I developed almost like a friendship, and and then we WhatsApp each other, and at some point I was like, I don't know what happens with this guy. He's not really moving fast. He's not struggling, but I guess that you were super relaxed because you knew you were gonna get it, and it's exactly what happened. I was really impressed how good things went for you. And
yeah, I was
tell us,
impressed too.
what was your process?
So I got laid off the day before my birthday, so it was like 1st of February.
Okay.
And
Not
yeah,
very nice.
no, but I started like sending I already had done my portfolio because I was working on my old one, so that was like something that was
to help you.
Yeah, it didn't took me time to like read the portfolio and redo the CV or whatever. So I just the resume. So I just sent everything to every company I knew. As you probably know, contacts and knowing people here is really important to get a job.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It's actually the most important thing.
I think I think that we should actually add that into our welcome package or something like that. Like, you guys need to put the networking kind of mode on as soon as you put a fit in the US, because the network that you build is probably the most important asset you're gonna continue.
And I can't say that I got a lot of help from my colleagues from HMC. They recommended me to a lot of jobs. Also, Guillermo, which is a participant.
Guillermo.
He also sent me some offers.
Another hero, another one that got another one that got the job like this. I mean, I don't know if all the Architect US participants have the same kind of features.
You know, we went to the same high school, so.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that's so a small world. That's so funny.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I got it pretty fast. I even could choose because I had like 3 offers on the table, so that was really nice.
Yeah, I remember that too. I was like, okay, Arturo, do you want us to touch base with? No, hold on. I'm still deciding. I was like, okay. If he's
because you know, like you always this is something you have to do here. You have to negotiate your salary a lot, and if you're waiting
another thing we are not used to, another thing we're not ready for. Yeah,
but they always give like counter offers and things like that. So I was waiting for the other offers to come to say yes, with the counter offer of, oh, they are paying me this, so you better rise up that. So.
And it worked. How long did it actually took you? Like a week or two? The later?
So it was. So I got the offer the first week, and then I just delayed it a week to make my point out of it.
Just to give yourself a little credit. No, I mean, it's part of the game, I guess. But I mean, how was the transition? I mean, just so you know, guys, Arturo was on a J1, obviously, that we sponsor him. And with the J1, you can transfer to another company pretty fast. The process is, you don't really need to leave the US. I mean, it's a matter of compiling.
It's super simple. Yeah.
Very simple. And then you just continue working immediately, right? I mean, you didn't have to wait anything.
Yeah, basically, HMC gave me like a 30-day notice. So the day I finished my work in HMC, I think I had 1 free day, then the weekend, and on Monday I started in the other company.
Wow, yeah.
So
that was fast and really great. And now you are in the process of getting your own one. You had already started.
I already had all my papers done, so the Jack is working on it.
Well, he's mentioning Jack if you guys know Jack, but I mean Jack Jack is
Jack is our attorney.
Yeah, Jack is an attorney specialized in O1 visas for architects that we are always happy to refer whoever is interested to him because, well, to his company, because they are very diligent and so far all our participants have been successful with the O1 visa. So that's the best reference letter, right? You can have. So, but I mean, in your case, you're not processing the O1 visa attached to a company, right? You are just doing it as an agent.
Yeah, this is like in a specific different approach. I didn't want my visa to depend on a company anymore. I don't want to have this stress that I had this month with like, oh, you may lose your visa if you get laid off or whatever. Yeah. So I kind of decided I wanted an agent, which is basically un representante. I don't know how to say that in English.
Yeah, an agent.
Yeah. So as we're defined as artists, you can just have this guy that will sign the papers for you. He just have to be an American citizen. He doesn't have to be an architect or anything like that. So in my case, it's just a friend. And
wow, but is it that simple? I mean, I'm very familiar with the other type of O1 visa. The one that is attached
it's as simple
to
as that. The only thing it's like the company has to approve him. Okay. And then every time you want to switch companies, he has to sign the papers.
So okay, he's kind of responsible for your visa, for the entire visa.
He's like it's basically what you do with the J1. Like it's basically the same role.
Okay, that's super interesting. I mean, I thought that type of O1 it was meant to be for real artists, meaning like a pianist or like a painter or an actor, things like that had already contracts signed up in advance, so they can use that as a reference or as an evidence.
Yeah, that also has disadvantages, like you have to pay for your own visa, which is which is money, but you gain a lot of freedom too. So.
Oh yeah, because your visa is not tied to the company anymore. I mean, if things doesn't work out with Rainworth Grau Architects, right? Is the company you're working for. And how has been the beginning at Rainworth? I mean, are you also working in education, or is completely different? Okay.
I'm also, I'm almost specialized. I'm also working in education. I guess this firm has less higher education projects, but they still have some. It's a more young firm. People are younger, less intermediates and everything, and that's super nice.
Oh wow! So good change.
That's good, really good change. Yeah, and I guess I already knew some guys that worked there before I joined, because the lead designer on my team in HMC, Autumn Bird, her husband works in their RGA. That's what we call Rainworth Grau. Oh, so that was really like. So that was really nice that I already knew someone before I joined.
That's amazing. So you're gonna be there, well, at least for the time that you have remaining on your J1, and then you will have to make a break until you get your O1, right?
Yeah. So that was an important thing of the negotiating part of it.
Yes. Yeah.
That till they answer for my O1, I might stop working for like a couple weeks, or I don't know when, how much time.
I mean, the O1 visa goes pretty fast.
It goes pretty fast, but you never know, because COVID's happening and people are working from home, so it might take a little longer. So I just wanted to make sure.
But you will be legal. You will be legal to remain in the US, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm legal until they respond.
Okay.
So
that's great. That's great to know. Well, we'll see what happens then with your O1, and what is. next in your career? Because so far you're planning to stay in the US for a long time, because I saw that you want to become licensed in the US before starting your own studio or firm.
Yeah, I probably want to become licensed here. I know license in the US is pretty, like California is one of the most complicated ones.
I know. You have more exams. Yeah, me too. Me too.
I think they have two exams more.
Which I don't understand why. Do you know what's the reason behind it?
I don't even understand the reason why you can be licensed in California and not in Arizona or not in...
Oh, no, you have to do the NCARB. I don't know. There's a specific term for that. I don't remember, but some sort of equivalency that you have to
it's also pretty, like, I was lucky that my school, Thesis San Pablo, had the NAB substantial equivalency, because I hear a lot of architectural schools here don't.
Yeah, that's right. That exactly happened to me when I was starting the licensure process. You know, I had some friends at the office, American friends, that they had to do a lot of paperwork and like a tedious process. And I was like, because my university as well had already the equivalency. So the Polytechnic in Madrid. So that's pretty cool that you already had that step kind of covered. So you have also accumulated already quite a few hours for your IDP. Probably you need a few more still, right? But I mean, and you plan to start doing your AREs, the exams soon?
Well, first I'm waiting for the visa.
Yeah, well, that's true.
And then I'll start with all the paperwork and see how I can do that.
Interesting. Well, we'll see where your own studio ends up being. You know, where you ended up building it. Whether if it is in Taiwan, in Madrid, in Sacramento, or.
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows?
No, I always wanted to go back to Spain, but it's just not realistic right now for me. But I guess maybe later. I don't know.
You've been only like a year and a half, so you're really young. So it's a good moment to explore. I mean, for you, it's not to explore the world anymore, I guess, because you have already that broad experience, international experience, but. At least the US experience, a year and a half sometimes is too little. You need some more time.
Yeah, I actually wanted to see some of the projects I was working on finally done and built, which goes pretty slow, especially because the buildings in the HMC were huge. So it's not like retail that it's probably a pretty fast thing, but when you have to go through school districts and approvals, and that gets a little tedious.
I see. Well, Arturo, I think that we're gonna have to wrap up. I don't know, guys, if you have any questions. I know that at the beginning there were a few, but I cannot. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I find them now. Because many people join and they get in, they get out. Amazing architect, someone is saying about you. I guess. Teresa.
Oh, Teresa. She's the girl that went with me to Taiwan.
Oh, the one that you mentioned. Okay, got it.
Great architect too, by the way.
Okay, awesome. There was someone asking us if we know how to find a job in Europe, if they are in South America. Unfortunately, we don't really work on that. I mean, I guess that you will have to look for, job platforms where you can explore the opportunities in Europe, but we don't really know how visas work there or anything like that. We're specialized in bringing architectural talents from overseas to the US. I mean, from across the globe. So guys, I don't know, it's always the same. They're always shy and they email us the questions. So if that happens, Arturo will share them with you for sure. I'm really sorry.
I was just gonna say to whoever is listening, that they should join the program. It was really easy for me. It really make a difference in my portfolio and in my career, and I cannot have a better experience. So.
Oh my God, thank you, Arturo. This was not planned, okay? We didn't agree on this before. It was just all of a sudden. And I really appreciate it.
I recommend it to everybody all the time, like all my colleagues from school and everything. So.
So someone is asking, it's Christina. How do you find out if your college qualifies for getting the license here? That's a good question. I think it's in NCARB, right? No, it's not NCARB. It's through the NAB.
It's through the NAB's website.
National Accredited Architectural Board, I think is what it stands for.
Yeah. So if you go to their website, they have all the overseas schools that have the equivalency.
I'm gonna just type it so you can see it in case.
Oh yeah, sure. Actually, if you call your school, they might know too, because in my school, they were pretty proud about it all the time.
Yeah, because it's very difficult to get that substantial equivalency as a foreign, institution or school. But I mean, since I started the process, I think that it has got more flexible, I guess, or easier. You have less hours to accumulate towards your IDP, your experience, your hours in professional experience. There are also less exams. So I think they have opened up more, I think they call it schools where you can do your test overseas. I mean, before you can only do the test in the US. Now I think that they have London, Dubai, Hong Kong, Madrid. I don't know. Probably there's some schools in South America too. I'm not sure. But what I'm trying to say is that before you had to be in the US no matter what, in order to start the process of getting licensed. But now you can do it also from overseas if you're interested in that. Cool. So yeah, Christina, I hope that you find it. If not, just shoot us an email and we'll help you. So Arturo, a pleasure as always. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, I'm so sorry I've been a little bit slow, but I'm with COVID, guys, just so you know. COVID exists. It's not, well, it really exists. But, it's my second time actually, but I'm doing well, but I'm super, congested. But I think it was a very insightful interview. I think that you got a lot already in your backpack, as I was saying, even though you're super young. So I don't know. It seems like your future is bright, and we cannot wait to see what happens. Yeah.
Let's see.
I really hope I can come to visit you guys. Last time I was at HMC. My last trip actually to the US was I went to LA and I visited the Ontario office.
Oh, that's a huge office. That's a big one.
Well, I met Alan, the HR director, and
Brian Staten and all those people.
Yeah, and it was funny because I was with my Mustang in LA, and it was like, sure, yeah, I can go to.
Now you have to come to Sacramento. You're gonna like it.
I gotta love it. No, but what I was saying is like, sure, yeah, I can go to Ontario. It's part of LA. It was like 2 hours driving.
It's 2 hours.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, the car thing here is crazy.
Did you actually have a car?
I don't. I refuse to have a car.
Good for you.
Well, I live downtown, so pretty near the Capitol. So I have all the protests all the time. And I don't actually need it. It's really expensive to rent like a garage parking here. It's like $350 a month. So yeah, so it's not even like that's like a car payment. So basically, it's cheaper to Uber everywhere. Yeah,
that's good. Okay, so thank you guys for joining us today. Thank you, Arturo.
Thank you.
Lovely to get to know a little bit more about you and your amazing trajectory to date. And yeah, please stay in touch. Hopefully you get the old one very soon. And
yeah, sure.